Few things are as discombobulating as when our conception of ourself meets the impetus of the reality we find around ourselves, and the evidence showing that we are not who we thought we were, and we may not achieve what we thought we would achieve. For our entire lives, we build this image of ourselves for ourselves, and we have all these hopes and dreams that form not only our conception of reality, but our future reality, and we start to assume things that are going to happen that might not happen based on our dreams and how close to reality we are. But it's not so much this impetus that changes us as how we respond to this impetus. When we were born, that's fertile soil for a lot of things to happen for us, to our circumstances and our upbringing. And there's a whole lot of soil that we're working with. And a lot of the time we're working in the dark. We're a seed growing and being watered by a number of different things. But we are caught in the net of reality. And once we greet the atmosphere, as we poke our head through the dirt and find we are this kind of thing, this kind of plant, if you will, if you want to continue the analogy, this kind of person. Once that light first hits our realization and our reality becomes immediate, what we do with that determines where will we go from there. Because we all have these natural strengths, and most of the time, before we realize who we are or truly understand our reality, that impetus around us, once that light greets us, before that, we're kind of working in the dark in the soil of what was already planted. But once that light hits our mind and the darkness is illuminated, the strengths that we have they seem frail in the light of day that is reality. They seem small, and they seem unfortunately predetermined. So that's why optimism and pessimism are two opposites of the extreme, and we tend to have that for most of our lives until we hit a point where this is reality. And that greeting of reality is impetus. Our conceptions of ourselves, it doesn't have to change per se, but we have to accept the reality of what we can do and who we are and what we have at our disposal. Sometimes this is like becoming a spiritual adult, because, there's ways to become an adult, but when you truly realize who you are and what you're capable of, a lot of the time you realize, happiness is not guaranteed. Greatness that you imagined is not guaranteed. And if you have any kind of mental disorder, like schizophrenia, for instance, delusions of grandeur or capability are much bigger than the impetus of reality when it hits us seems to indicate once we see ourselves. But I think society kind of sets us up for imagining that we can all be an astronaut or we can do whatever we want. And that reality for most people is not broken for a very long time, but for some of us, it becomes very apparent. What also becomes apparent is that once that light hits our mind and the darkness is illuminated, there's a whole lot more we can do than we thought. It seems counterintuitive to my point, but there's a whole lot that human beings in general can do to change their situation, can change their emotional situation, their spiritual situation, their home situation, every kind of situation that you can imagine. There's a whole lot we could do. And not only does the reality of our smallness become apparent and immediate, but also the reality of our capabilities, our true capabilities, not the imagined ones, but the real ones. And some of the small strengths that we're naturally born with or we're naturally growing in the soil before we greeted reality, some of those natural strengths, we start to become more creative with those. We start to become more enlightened in how we use our natural strengths, rather than imagining that they're greater or that they're other or that we can do whatever we want. We see our strengths for what they are, and then we realize what we can do with them. What we can do with that impetus of reality and our natural strengths, that determines the course of events for our life in the future and how we proceed. Sometimes it takes a long time. Some people never get to this point. But once you hit that point and that realization truly sinks in, that's when you start to look for how you can use what you have and your environment and everything around you. And that's when the true work begins. the real work, the work that we were always meant to do, that we've been growing into the kind of thing that greets the atmosphere in order to commence. And don't be afraid. You have abilities. Use them creatively. Realize your limitations and realize how your limitations may be lesser than you realized or imagined. You might not be able to do everything, but you can sure do something with what you have. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. Once again, this is kind of after a workout. Hope y'all don't mind. Hit the thumbs up down there if you like this video, and feel free to share this video, and feel free to leave a comment. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. Use your strengths, realize yourself, and all of you have a wonderful day.